and I'm a proud and responsible owner of a 1.5-year-old pit bull American Staffordshire, as we just found out. And I'm here to oppose the ordinance that basically, to me, discriminates the breed itself. Not only is this a factless, unjust generalization, but it's discriminatory towards a specific breed. Passing fear-based laws such as this one is only the beginning and opens up the door to almost certain proposal of banning or killing pit bulls in this county, which has been passed and implemented in several states and counties already. I very much am against irresponsible owners that do not provide sufficient space, attention, and proper obedience training for any dog. With that being said, we are definitely for punishing or restricting such owners, to lower the amount of unwanted dogs in shelters, to restrict breeding to only licensed owners, but the law must require all dog breed owners, not just pit bull or so-called dangerous breeds, to be segregated. What I do agree with a lot of other people that have spoken would be that the media does, like they said, sensationalize a lot of this pit bull breeds. And because they're based on media attention and ratings. A lot of things that they don't say is Thomas Jefferson had the first pit bull in the White House himself. That was a pit bull itself. The Little Rascals, who was the dog that followed them everywhere? I mean, that's maybe pulling a little farther, but still, I mean, why would somebody leave a child? And that wasn't in the ancient times before this pit bull has been bred in and out. It was with children and TV. It was sought as okay to do so. Just this Saturday also, the American Humane Association awarded a pit bull named Ellie as American Hero Dog. So basically that dog is a therapy dog. A lot of pit bulls are therapy dogs because they are considered the nanny dog. Like they said, they do and they will attack another dog before they will ever attack a human being. So with that being said as well, just put yourself in this position. I do feel for the families and everything that have been attacked, but also put yourself in the situation is discriminatory. If a person should attack myself or any family member, whether it be a race or gender or a certain breed, if it would to be African American or Hispanic, I wouldn't want the whole race in a whole, or a whole gender, or a whole breed in a whole to be prosecuted or to be prohibited in anything. I would want that specific person to be prosecuted and put to just, not just generalizing breed, gender, or race. This comes back to a lot of things that we used to do before. We would generalize a race. We would generalize a gender as being accessible or be accused of being more able to do a certain thing or be aggressive or bred to be a bigger person. A linebacker would be more aggressive than myself. That's not true. So I do hope you do reconsider this.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
This is the first time I've ever come out to speak on behalf of anything because this is important to me. I'm here to advocate for my dog, who is a pit bull, and his name is Louie. There is a recent article in the Boston Globe that talks about more suburbanite families adopting pit bulls. They formerly looked away, like I did. For many years, because of the coverage that the pit bull got in the media, I was frightened to death of a pit bull. When I went to the pound to adopt a new member of my family, I saw the cutest little face looking up at me. And I said, I want this dog. So I immediately went to his profile in big letters, pit bull. I was like, oh no, pit bull, I can't do this. Walked off. But I just watched him looking at me and I said, that dog will never harm anyone. So I took a chance on him. That dog ended up rescuing me. Not only did I rescue him, but he rescued me. This dog is the gentlest, most lovable, and goofiest dog with a human-like personality that you can imagine. My heart goes out to the people who have lost loved ones from animal maulings, but I'm here to say that my Louie and thousands of others like Louie would never harm them. Every year for Halloween, my dog gets a costume. He sits out on the porch with me while I pass out candy, and he sits with the neighborhood kids, toddlers all the way to teens, and they're taking pictures with him. He's lovable, he's goofy, he's not harmful at all. And it's sad that by trying to target a specific breed, it's eradication. And this is about responsible pet ownership. If my dog got out, he'd be scared to death. but he would allow someone to take him. He wouldn't attack someone because I've socialized him. He likes people. He likes dogs. He likes cats. Unfortunately, our cat doesn't like him, and he doesn't understand that. But he's nothing like what the media portrays him to be. He'll give you kisses. He knows all of his commands. And it saddens me that we want to pick on one breed. First it was the Dobermans, then it was the German Shepherds. At one time it was the Rottweilers, and I think that this time around it's the Pit Bull's turn.
Hi, my name is Zia Bostonmeyer. I'm a founding board member of FTA Spay. We're an organization that offers low-cost spay and neuter to residents of Southwest Riverside County, and I'm also a pit bull rescuer. You would think that someone that's part of a spay and neuter organization would be in support of this ordinance, but I'm 100% against it. What you find when you institute mandatory spay and neuter is that the people who don't spay and neuter their dogs is because they can't afford it. And so what happens is when you give them fines, they can't afford it. They relinquish their dog. Your euthanasia rates and intake rates go up, and the city costs go up as well. So it's well-intentioned, but misinformed. The American Veterinary Medical Association says that mandating spay and neuter can increase canine, feline, and zoonotic disease risk because some people will attempt to avoid detection by failing to seek veterinary care for their animals. To the knowledge of the ASPCA, the only method of population control that has demonstrated long-term efficacy in significantly reducing the number of animals entering shelters is voluntary sterilization of animals. The ASPCA is not aware of any credible evidence demonstrating a statistically significant enhancement in the reduction of shelter intake or euthanasia as a result of the implementation of mandatory spay-neuter law. PetSmart Charities came out with a study in 2011 on attitudes towards spay and neuter, and they identified that cost is one of the primary barriers to spay and neuter in many communities. Basically, 10% of the population creates 90% of the problem, and they're creating the problem because they don't have the money to spay and neuter. What we need to offer is low-cost or free alternatives that people do take advantage of it when it's offered. There are 75 million dogs in the United States. This country has 300 million people, and only 30 are involved in incidents that are fatal. This is a drop in the bucket, and we're turning it into an ocean. I do agree that something should be done, but this is the wrong way to attack the problem. The CDC says fatal attacks represent a small portion of injuries to humans. Breed, therefore, shall not be a primary factor driving public policy concerning dangerous dogs. Many practical alternatives to ordinances exist and hold promise for prevention of dog bites.
You know, it's therapy for people. It's a family member for people. You guys were talking about the economy. There's a lot of shows. Michelle Chavez, who was up here, she's been throwing shows here in the county since I started, and people come in from all over the country to gather for these events, and I would invite any one of you to come and see how they operate. And they're very family-oriented, well-mannered dogs, and I think the key is just, you know, to tackle the problem. You don't say no more motor vehicles because someone went and smashed a kid and he's dead now. I mean, you got to look at, was it a drunk driver? You know, there's ways you go about doing things. I don't think dismantling and you know, eradicating an entire breed is the way to go.
They were actually used on the farm during the 1900s as nannies for kids. You will look and see many old pictures of them with kids. They're not bred to be human aggressive. The reason that they are aggressive now towards humans is because they're not being raised correctly. They're almost the #1 stolen dog too, because they will go with anybody. I know lots of people that have had their dogs stolen out of their backyard. You think, someone stole a pit bull? That's amazing. They'll go with people. But most of our show dogs, they're so well socialized, they'll go with any of you. You can take their leash and walk away with them.
I know that it's sensationalized on TV. You can see every channel. Every channel that we see on our television is here. And they're not really here because of some dump that we're actually going to use waste products for. We know they're here because of the sensationalism of a pit bull bite. You know, I haven't seen on TV in years where they said, oh, Labrador bit a girl over here. Because they don't report that. That's not news. We see that on TV, news has to be a sensation of it. And it's like the pit bull right now has become the hot topic. Okay, I just want the council to understand to please have a rational mind when you decide on these things, that there are responsible people and there are responsible breeders and showers out here that are trying to do the right thing and set a good example for everyone else.
Most of the attacks you hear, the dogs are outside the fence. Male dogs are like teenage boys. They're always on the alert, scoping around to see if there's a female there. Okay? Men are not a whole lot different. If you see a pretty girl, don't you say, doesn't mean you're chasing her, only that she's pretty. It's unfortunate that pit bulls are bearing the brunt of the excessive breeding. But you know what? They are. And something has got to be done about the breeding.
I support spay and neuter across the board. Don't put it on one breed. Every single dog, Chihuahuas. We aren't asking for a mandatory spay neuter for Chihuahuas, and they're the breed after pit bulls that are being killed.
But I see that where unresponsible people turn their dogs loose. They have what you call pit bull Staffordshires. They have maybe 7 in their backyard. They're unresponsible people. They don't care about nothing but the status symbol of, I can't even hold on to my dog, but I'm going along with it. Those dogs are running loose with no collars, no licenses. So is all the other dogs. And your ordinance that you have right now, that should be for every dog, including the Chihuahuas. We had 7 of them downtown Colton following each other because one was in heat and they're coming from all these yards. Something has to be done about the people that own these animals. They don't care if they have a license like I do, or they're vaccinated or whatever. They're irresponsible people. They don't care. They let the dogs run out. I mean, I've already rescued a Schnauzer, a Havanese, and part pit bull and boxer. And my pit bull boxer is a great dog. I took it away from a man that was kicking the dog downtown when it was a puppy. I just went over and pulled it away from him.
I'm going to add to your statistics today. These are verifiable. It's from dogbite.org. But these are national statistics, 2012. Pit bulls made up less than 5% of the U.S. total dog population. There were 38 U.S. fatal dog attacks. Despite being regulated in military housing areas and over 600 U.S. cities, pit bulls contributed to 61% of these deaths. So, pit bulls make up less than 5% of the total U.S. dog population. And then I want to add something else here, and it's in regards to the breeding of pit bulls. And maybe this will give you a little bit more of an idea. Pit bulls were trained for ratting on farms in the 1800s. They were also incorporated into a blood sport where they threw rats into a pit, they threw the dogs in the pit, and the dog that could kill the most rats won. Now this comes out of England. Look at your encyclopedias. This is all verifiable. And I want to address another issue. We are seeing family pets that are attacking their families, the kids, the children. We are seeing pit bulls in the news because pit bulls, when they attack, the injury inflicted may be catastrophic. that is different than other breeds. And this makes me angry because I've seen people that have been bitten and shredded. The pit bull hold and shake bite style causes severe bone and muscle damage. Once a pit bull starts an attack, firearm intervention may be the only way to stop this. I've seen this happen with stun gun, didn't work on the pit bull. So, responsible ownership, yes. Spay and neuter, yes. This is a life and death issue. We have frustration and fear in the community. We need to do something.
San Bernardino already has this on their books, but the cities didn't follow suit. And that's a real shame because this is, if Colton had this, he would be alive today, all right? He's only 2 years old, and he passed away just this year because of the family pit bulls. This boy, and we're all at 8 years old, look at this, he's in the hospital, all right? He's fighting for his life too. So that's a serious infection. Attacked in his cul-de-sac, riding his bicycle in a cul-de-sac by another neighbor with loose pit bulls, okay? I beg you to pass this ordinance, and I tell you, if you do, I will be in front of the Riverside City Council pushing it to be passed for the city as well. Every city should have this ordinance.
Actually, I feel a little silly for, I don't know what to expect.
Please just go.
I'm sorry.
No.
No, but that one.
You can do that from the microphone, please.
I'm sorry. Yeah, see what oh, hey. This is a poster that I made. And, it's not professional, but I made it myself. And obviously here, my point is, well, it's about the couple of really rough.
Julie, I'm sorry. For the record and so we can hear you, could you speak to the microphone, please, and address
Okay,
us?
I'm sorry, yeah, okay.
Address the board. We can have the gentleman hold the plaque for you if you like.
Okay, my intention here is to say that when a pit bull does get out of hand, this is a type of thing that can happen. And I said, this must stop here and here and now. Okay. My ex-husband had a pit bull himself. And what I heard about him before I met him, or what I heard about the dog, the only thing that Roxy ever did that was wrong or that would upset me, there was, when he had a truck and when the dog was riding in the back, and you could do that easily, there was, the only thing that got her excited was females of a particular race that would, when he saw them, she saw them, she got a bark, 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 and that's the worst thing she ever did. Probably the worst thing my husband did. We had 2 kids at the time, very, very small. And we were sitting at the dock of one of the little lakes there in Fresno County. And my oldest couldn't have been more than 3 years old, and he fell into the lake. And I watched my husband, because Tyler was here, my husband was here, I was there, and I looked, and I couldn't see Tyler because at that point my ex had a nice little beer belly there, and I was waiting for him to do something. And so I turned around, and we had left our youngest in his little baby carrier, carry the new baby everywhere, and so I set him back, back off of the edge of the dock. And then I looked at Roxy, and I said, Roxy, go sit with Trevor. And she knew something because I was pointing. And nothing.
Julie, thank you for your testimony. Your time has expired. Thank you very much.
Regarding my granddaughter, Summer Claxton. She was mauled to death in 2003 by a baby pit bull. She was unattended. The babysitter left her for 3 hours and ran errands. This dog right here killed a little boy who was chained to a fence. I'm tired of turning the TV on, and I'm tired of hearing how many more children or elderly people are being killed, eaten to death. I'm tired of that.
I don't know if the owners care more about the pit bull or if they care more about their children. It makes me wonder